So our next storyteller, we were looking for storytellers for this event, and I am currently looking for a job. So I was on LinkedIn, and I read a post by our next storyteller, and I thought this guy is going to be great for her. So I took a shot, slid into those DMs, and got him to come up for us. So Josh Czupryk, he is the Director of Academic Operations at the University Campus Schools. Josh, everybody.
I will say I have never thought about mic preference either, so I don't know, but yeah, that makes sense. All right, so we're going to start February of 2022. The clacking of my computer keys gently rose over the soft humming of the space heater in my office as it futilely fought the cold that beat from the outside. A gentle rap met my door, unusually for 7 a.m., as Shamice slowly slinked in with a sly smile on her face. Guess who I met at the high school yesterday? I knew. But I took the bait, and with a convincing tone, I added, "This is my child, Grayson. He's had a long day at kindergarten, so just give him some grace." I thought I knew, but I took the bait, and with a convincing tone, I asked her, "Who?" "Michelle." She hurried into the front office. I was covering for the secretary. She flung her purse on my desk. She ran into the bathroom. She came out, said thanks, and without me being even able to say hi, she was off to class. Anybody that's ever worked for me knows I have this stare, and so I just stared at her, like, that's the end of the story. She goes, "Yeah, that's it." I said, "Well, sounds like a high schooler went to the bathroom." Pretty normal to me. If you flash back 31 months in our organization, Shamisa's story would have been groundbreaking. July 2019. Excitedly crammed in a hot, sticky, air-conditioned, starved back lobby of a school, once a church, the leadership teams of 5 campuses crunched together like toys in a closet forgotten for a face-to-face talk with a few difficult questions that came through an email that said, "Face-to-face before kids return on Monday." Nervously, I anticipated what these questions could be. This was my first time joining the entire trusted circle. The quote came, "We have to decide, can boys wear earrings? Can girls wear pants?" I stuck out in this room, as exceptionally proud and humbled to be chosen by my peers to be a leader of an organization where 99.5% of our students were people of color, 91% of our teachers were people of color, and 85% of our leaders were people of color. For 12 weeks, I quietly observed, not saying much, but I knew I had to ask the question. So, my first impression was asking, can girls wear earrings? Can boys wear pants? After listening to a near consensus opinion sharing of all of the leaders, we all collectively agreed that the revolution, just as anti-LGBTQ activists had feared, would begin with boys wearing earrings and girls wearing pants. I first met Michelle later that semester in my official capacity as our kindergarten through 12th grade science coach across our 5 schools. She asked if she could speak to me in the hallway. I said, "Sure." So we stepped out, and she said, "Mr. C, Miss Haynes won't use my name." To which I told her, "Hey, listen, you know me as Mr. C. My friends know me as Josh, but my legal name is actually Theodore, so I've got you. I'll make sure Miss Haynes calls you Michelle. Nicknames are what makes you you. And nicknames are what makes me me." So I waited a few minutes so the other freshmen wouldn't connect my next action, and when they were locked into a biology problem-solving task, I asked Miss Haynes if I could talk to her in the hallway for a second. Looking out to the chip paint on the wall as we exited, I heard Miss Haynes' voice come from behind me. "His name is Michael. I will be calling him Michael." I turned around, I was respectful, and I listened. I waited for her to make her argument. it was not lost on me that I could potentially fool freshmen, but I was not going to be able to fool Miss Haynes. As she finished, I said, "Thank you for sharing, Miss Haynes. The entire time that we spoke, you called me Josh." She looked really confused. I said, "My name is Theodore." We made a lot of headway that year with belonging, destigmatizing gender identity, fluidity, how to use the singular they. We practiced as adults. And we just decided that we were going to allow students to express their whole selves while they were at school. Then, we got out of spring break one day early. Over the next 17 months, time stood still. We saw Michelle and her peers through what started off as really slow Zoom meetings, really rough Google Classroom assignments, and through new dances on an app that we adults really thought was called TikTok. The entire time we were really worried about all of our kids, all of our Michelles, and if they were going to be okay. And after what felt like was an eternity, the school bell rang on another humid, sticky August day as children hurried into the building for the first time since that spring break had become spring broken. Students proudly introduced themselves with new nicknames, new identities, new hobbies, new career aspirations, new likes, new dislikes. Some even shared their new pronouns, and others shared their new pets. I'm a queer man, and I'm also an educator, and those two things are not in conflict with one another. I suspect I am not alone among all of my LGBTQIA+ siblings in feeling anxiety, apprehension, and fear going into this school year. If I am completely transparent with you, it is crippling. I had a colleague ask me a few weeks ago, who also is a teacher, and said, "Can we talk about how to be out at work?" And I recognize my privilege. I am straight passing. I'm married to a wonderful woman. You just saw her take our kiddo away. I'm white, I'm cisgender, I'm male. That said, as I told to my colleague, we cannot go back into the closet. As a student growing up in primary and secondary school, I only knew about LGBTQIA+ educators through the whispers about Mr. Beinak, Mr. Tillman, Coach Boyce. I heard adults around me talk about how they were different. I am not saying that we need to produce pride parades down our hallways or wear our identities on our sleeves, but I'm also saying that we should not have to, if we were assigned male at birth, deepen our voice. And if we were assigned female at birth, we should not have to fem our appearances. We are not groomers. We are not threats. We are not a danger. We are educators. We are practitioners. And we are professionals. As you return to your schools this year, remember that you are not alone. Remember that you are not less than. And remember that your voice can carry on behalf of your Michelle, who just wants to go to the bathroom and get back to class. Thank you.